I watched a video on the Venus Theory YouTube channel, and he spoke about how he got a copyright strike on YouTube for using music that had been generated using AI. And in that video, he's asking very important questions, such as who owns the copyright of things that have been generated using AI. And while watching that video, the question that kept ringing in my head is, should you be paying for AI? And that is exactly what we are going to be exploring in this episode of the podcast. Welcome to Monetize Attention. I am jepkendagor, and on this podcast, I like to discover brands, explore marketing strategies, and the attention economy. In this episode, the kind of AI that I'm going to be speaking about is generative AI, the kind of AI that has been used to write poetry, to create music, to create content, to even create influencers. In my line of work, which is marketing, this is the kind of AI that has been exploding for the past few years. And the more generative AI became popular, it became very clear that a lot of these companies that are creating this type of AI have been using stolen data to train their algorithms. And after they've created the AI, they are selling it as a tool to help people to become more efficient. And that's where I'm finding it to be an irony, because you stole people's data to use to train your AI, but you're selling your AI. How is that making any kind of sense? There have been several arguments in defense of why people should pay for AI, and one of them is that, AI creates value. They say that AI creates efficiency in people's lives and it's very useful, and no one is doubting that. They even go a step further and say that the value that is being created by AI is thanks to the technology that has been used to create this AI. They say that consumers should pay for the investment that went into creating AI technologies. They talk about how there's a lot of research that goes into this, and of course there's no debate when it comes to that. The problem is, when they are creating this generative AI, it's not just about the algorithms that they've created. They need the information architecture, which is the data that they've been stealing, combined with the technology in order to create AI. But you don't think that you should be paying the people whose data you actually stole? How can you take something that somebody else created, use it to create your own product, and then expect people to pay for your product because you say that yours creates value, but you overlook the data that was valuable to you? Isn't this the equivalent of just pirating someone's content and then selling it as your own? I'm really tired of this kind of argument, because we've seen it over and over, and the people who are always most affected by these kinds of argument are always artists and now content creators on the internet. A lot of people are always disregarding the work of creators, the work of artists, saying it's not that important, but at the same time they're always looking for ways of benefiting from it. The other argument that a lot of these AI companies always have is that, we use data that is publicly available. And when it comes to copyright terms, they're always saying it's fair use. And fair use is the copying of copyrighted material, but you're only supposed to use it for a transformative purpose, such as through commentary or through parodies. When it comes to fair use, you just can't copy copyrighted material and then go sell it. That is exactly what these AI companies are doing, because they just use the content of a lot of people. A lot of that content was copyrighted content, because yes, even if you're publishing something on the internet place like YouTube, your video is automatically copyrighted unless you change it in the YouTube setting, where you can change from the standard YouTube license to a Creative Commons license. Once you have a Creative Commons license, it means that you're giving permission to whichever person to use your content. But most times the default on YouTube is the standard YouTube license, which means that no one can use your content without asking for permission, or they can use it without asking for your permission, but it has to be through fair use. They have to be making a commentary, and not just taking your entire video and publishing it as if it's their own. Clearly these AI companies are not doing this, because you took copyrighted material and then you created your own AI using copyrighted material, and then you are selling your AI. That is not fair use. That is literally stealing. And obviously the people that use this kind of argument, they're doing so because they know that a lot of people are very ignorant when it comes to matters copyright and intellectual property. When someone says that it was publicly available, it doesn't mean that you could just take it without asking for permission. I mean, taking the good example of, if you're a creator on YouTube, you can't just take the pop music that is trending and slap it on your video, because you're going to get a copyright infringement. The music is publicly available, but it doesn't mean that that you're just going to use it without paying for it or without asking for permission from the creator. Even when you're paying for the music, for example, on Spotify or Apple Music, it doesn't mean that you can take the music and add it to your videos. You're just paying on those platforms to listen to the music, but you're not paying to use that music in your own stuff. And until now, it has been very hard to actually find a lot of AI companies that are very transparent about how they got their data. A lot of them are not even naming the exact place where they got this publicly available data. If you think it's right for you to just go take somebody else's data because it's publicly available, then you should also accept that people can use your AI product without paying for it because it's publicly available. Why is it an exception when it comes to you? When you have a product to sell, suddenly you want yours to be paid for, but when you want to use somebody else's product and content, suddenly it's fair use and it was publicly available. Let's stop with this pretense, please. And then there are some AI enthusiasts who have spoken about how a lot of content creators should really not expect to be paid by AI companies that stole their content, because these content creators should see this as a way of helping society. It's for the larger good of society. I mean, as a content creator, you are so selfish for wanting to be paid for the content that you created, when you should be thinking about how the person who stole your content has actually created something that is going to help society. Well, I could pose the same question to these people who have created AI products. Shouldn't you see this as a way of helping society? I mean, if you've created something that is so good, that is so useful, so efficient, why are you requiring people to pay for it? The moment you start asking for payment, it means that you've created a roadblock for a lot of people who are impoverished, who are marginalized, because a lot of them do not have the money to pay for your AI in order to use it, in order to be efficient in their work. Shouldn't you be the one that makes your AI products available to the public for free? Because you clearly care so much about helping society. Isn't your product going to be more useful? Then why are you asking people to pay for it? Why are content creators expected to be so selfless and to perform an act of goodwill for the good of the entire society, but somehow you are exempted from that? This actually reminds me how a lot of businesses in this line of work of mine, in marketing, influencer marketing, being a creator, so many businesses who always approach you as a creator and they're like, if you create a video for me, I'm not going to pay you because you'll get paid with exposure. That video that you're creating is going to help the business to build brand awareness, to build brand reputation, to build brand equity, to make sales, which is building their profits. I've always marveled at this kind of audacity because it seems in this society there's some people who are allowed to make money out of the things that they create, and there's some other people who are just expected to accept exposure, who are expected to just accept that their work can be stolen for the larger good of society. All in all, the thing that should really be happening now is for these companies to come clean, become transparent. They should tell us where they got their data that they used to train their AI. And if they know that they used stolen data, they should make it a point to pay the people whose data they stole. And then they can now come and tell us that they want us to pay for their AI products. But if you're not doing that, the ethical thing to do is for you to make your AI product free for everyone.